Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials on any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com.
I hope you are able to share my screen. Now, the last part which I would like to configure on this particular network would be this particular discussion which we want. Actually, provide an IP address to switch to respect to VLAN 200 because this is an IT department who is actually managing this particular switch. I told you that if I would like to access the switch with the help of telnet, what I will do, I would like to simply provide an IP address to the switch, but I cannot provide the IP address to the Ethernet port. I should provide the IP address to VLAN interface. I need to create an interface over here, and to that interface, I need to provide one of the IP address of IT, which is provided in this particular family. Correct? So we will choose 172.16.0.254 now because this IP address would be the IP address of your switch. So I will go to this switch number 4. I will okay. I will go to enable configure T. I want to create the interface for VLAN 200. I will simply say interface VLAN, the VLAN number, enter. A interface would be created automatically by the name of VLAN 200. Okay, you can see that you are inside the interface prompt. The command to provide the IP address is called as IP address 172.16.0. I would say 10. I need to provide the subnet mask. Enter. Correct. Now I will say no shut. Okay, it is not shut down at all actually. Now 0.10 is the IP address. Now if I go to this computer, okay, which is the part of IT, I will ping 172.16.0.5. Enter. Interface. This is 0. Okay. Working. This is working. Okay, then what is the mistake we have done? Let's understand it. Exit. Say show interface VLAN 200. Okay, VLAN 200 is having 172.16.0.10. It is currently up. Okay, it is VLAN 200. Correct. Then why it is not? Okay, let's do one thing. on T interface 200. Strange. Why it is saying the first time out?
Because 172.16.0.10.
No, this is the IP address of switch we are talking about. We are talking about this. May I missed something IP address? That's the one thing. X6 no VLAN 200. Show IP interface brief. Okay, VLAN 200 is down. Okay, empty. Let's say VLAN interface VLAN 200 IP address. I hope it is not given to anyone. 172.16.0.6. Okay. Show IP interface. Okay. Shut. Why it is not coming down? Do one thing. Now I would like to tell you one more thing. Now we have configured a lot of things over here, correct? Now what this is, let me see, this is one. Where port number 5 and this are shut down. Port number 5 and port number 6. Shut down. Unassigned. Why it is shut down, these two links? is not coming up. I have not done anything on this interface. Okay, let's do one thing. I'm going to save this running config as a starter config. I just want to do power cycle in order to confirm nothing is wrong over here. So if I do the reboot of these two switches, all the settings would be gone, correct? Because all the settings which we are doing, that is happening on the top of your RAM, that is nothing but a running memory. So if I would like to show a running configuration, I would be able to see that many things, that many VLANs which we have created and many things are there. This is the running configuration. That means I am accessing from a RAM, correct? Now if I would like to say copy running configuration to startup. So what I'm saying, copy this running configuration to the startup configuration. That means what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to save this configuration permanently in NVRAM. It will ask you, okay. Now I would like to do it for this switch also. I want to do the power cycling. So I will say copy running configuration to startup configuration. Enter. Enter. So those things would be permanently stored. Now let me power cycle it. Now we would like to see what is the problem. Why these two interfaces are actually in the orange color. Okay, we will wait for. Okay, now this interface is coming back up. Okay, so I will go to this switch one more time. I hope all the configuration show running configuration. Hope so. Okay, you can see the VLAN is placed, so all the settings are saved. VLAN 300, VLAN 200, that's fine. Now conf T, no interface VLAN 200. Okay, I will say interface VLAN 200. Okay, I will say IP address should be 172.16.0. Okay, I would say 10. I'm using complete class B 255.255.0.0. Enter. I would say no shut. Now let me see from this computer IP config. Am I able to ping 172.16.0.1? It's pingable. And see this interface is pingable or not. I try to ping it, it blocks actually.
Hey viewers, our Master in DevOps engineering program can help you to hone the skills necessary to succeed in high-level DevOps positions. So, what are you waiting for? Enroll now and earn certification that show you are keeping pace with today's technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
Why it is not pingable? Okay. IP address is correct or not? 172.16.7. Don't record a gateway as well. Then why it is not pinging? That's the question.
You are using the different IP for ping.
Oh,
172.16.0.10.
okay, that could be the problem. This
You're
is
using 5.
that was in my mind actually. I'm supposed to set up 5, but I did it. Okay, let's wait. Now this is pinging. Sometimes simulator now we tried it first time. It blocks those two interface. I don't know why, but we rebooted everything. Now it's working. Now I'm able to access the switch with the help of this IP address. Okay, so the only IT people know what is the IP address of the switch, and we put the IP address within their family. So only from those computers they are able to access this particular switch. Even from this computer also. Okay, this is the IT computer which is in the same family. So I'm also able to access it from here as well. So 172.16.0.10, not 5. Okay. Now this entire things would be going into that. It should be pingable. Correct. So in our network administration, actually, this is how it needs to be configured. Correct. Now one more requirement is there. Now understand what. Now my requirement is something like this. Okay, fine. I have distributed everything. I distributed the broadcast. Oh, everything is okay, no problem. But my requirement is something like this now. I want this admin people to communicate with this IT people. Okay, look at the things carefully now. What I'm saying, I want inter VLAN communication. That means currently these two are not able to communicate. Correct. The reason behind it that complete networks are different. They don't have a single network, means they are not under the part of single network at all. They are completely different network altogether. Are they able to communicate currently? Technically speaking, no, they won't be able to do it. Correct? Why? Because they are completely different network. Then what we are supposed to do? If my requirement says I want these two things to be connected, I should say management should communicate with the admin should communicate with IT. Now, technically speaking, IT are not supposed to do that, but yes, let's see that we would like to do it. Correct? Now, this is what exactly we are going to do it next. That technique is called as inter VLAN routing. Correct? That technique is called as inter VLAN routing. I will take a little bit over here and I will say inter VLAN routing. Now, how would I do that? Is switch is going to do that? Technically speaking, switch will not be able to do that. I'm talking about layer 2 switch. Layer 3 switch can do that, but layer 2 switch is not going to do it. Then in this particular network diagram, if I would like to make the communication possible, then what I should do? Simple thing, you need to bring a router inside your network now. I need to have a router over here. Correct? Okay, I said router is there. Then how do I do that? Now there are two solutions are available. The first solution is, if I would like to do the inter-VLAN routing, then I should have a separate physical interface per VLAN should be available on the router. That means I should have, in our case, we do have a 3 VLAN, correct? Then I should have 3 dedicated interface connected to the switch, and every separate VLAN is going through dedicated interface to the router. Okay, I will say this is for VLAN 200, this is for VLAN 300, this is for VLAN 100. Correct? So this is the solution, but do you think it's scalable? Do you have that much interfaces on that particular router? Technically speaking, no, I don't have any such kind of interfaces available on the router. Or else if I have 20 VLANs, should I connect 20 separate interfaces on the router for in order to communicate? I want to talk management to the admin. How it will go? Management will go to the router, and from router it will go to the admin. If IT want to talk to this admin, then he will go to this router. Router will send the traffic to this switch and it will go to this admin. But every single VLAN, you should have a dedicated interface. That interface will act like a gateway for that network, would be available there. But technically speaking, it's not feasible solution. My router does not have a capacity to carry so much number of interfaces separately handled for each and every VLAN. Correct? Then what is the other solution? Other solution is available, that I can create a single line from this switch to this router. And this single line can carry the traffic of each and every VLAN and process it for here. So if admin want to come, he should come here, give the data packet to this line will carry the traffic, same line will carry the traffic back and talk to management. Correct? Now this is possible with the concept we can talk about is called as sub interfaces. Now this is what I told you previously also, that we do have a concept called as sub interfaces. Correct? That means physically my only interface is available over here. Correct? But I will create multiple virtual interfaces on the router, and all the sub interfaces actually running on the same physical interface. So if I do something like this, that will serve my purpose. I can have only single line connected with each other. I will configure multiple sub interface. All the traffic is physically coming on a single physical port. However, sub interfaces, I will create whatever number of VLANs I can available inside my local, because I can create many sub interfaces on the top of the router. And every sub interfaces which I am going to create, it would handle a single VLAN. Correct? So understand, this is very particularly in small networks I'm talking about. It's very popular method. Okay, so where a single cable which is coming from the switch connected to the interface of the router, rather using this physical interface, I will create multiple virtual interface on the router, and I will make sure that each interface should serve a separate VLAN. Correct? So whatever traffic coming from IT, it should go to that sub interfaces, and he should know that for which VLAN he is handling for. So if I create 10 or 3 interfaces here, I say sub interface 1, sub interface 2, correct? Sub interface 2, sub interface 3, correct? I should inform him that this sub interface is for what? VLAN 100. So this sub interface know that any traffic which is coming from VLAN 100, I am responsible for actually routing that traffic. If I say I'm for VLAN 200, similarly, I would say VLAN 300. Now, every sub interface, I need to provide some IP address, because this IP address would be act like a gateway for your device. Gateway means the one who can take your data outside your network. That is your exit point of your network. So I need to provide a IP address to the sub interface. And if I'm handling VLAN 100, I need to take one IP address from VLAN 100 from admin department, and I will configure that IP address to sub interface. And whatever IP address of the sub interface which you are using, it would be act like a gateway for your admin computers. Correct? So this method is called as router on stick method. This is called as inter VLAN routing, but it is called as router on stick method. Correct? Very popular, very famous. I told you that this is very popular in small environment. Correct? So what we can do, let's see whether it is possible or not. Okay. So I will erase it and I will connect the wire. Okay. I will take the wire from switch. Okay, do we have gigabyte port? Okay, I will connect it over here. I will connect it to the gigabyte 1 from the switch, and from the router side I should be connected to gigabyte 1. So here I do have a gigabyte 1 connection over here. The same gigabyte 1 connection is available on the router. Correct? So I'm connecting that cable like this. Correct? Now, very important thing which we want to do it. I need to log into the router and create the sub interfaces for each and every VLAN. Tell that sub interface that which VLAN you are going to handle it. Okay, and set the IP address for that sub interfaces. Correct? So what is the interface? Physically the interface name is gigabyte 01. Correct? So I will click onto the router, go to the command line. Here I don't want to say yes, you have to say no for that. Now this is the same story. This is also user mode. If I go to en, once again it will help me to log into the privilege mode. On T, it will help me to go for configuration. Now I want to go to the interface called as gigabyte. So I will say interface gigabyte 0/1. Press enter. The first command, because this port is shut down right now, because that's why it is not green, it is in red color. By default, all the switch ports are shut down. So I will say no shut. That means I will turn it on. You can see it is become green now. Okay.
Hey viewers, trying to get into DevSecOps? Enroll for our DevSecOps certified professional programs and earn the certification that shows you are fit for these technical roles and requirements. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
That's fine. Now you are connected to the Gigabyte Ethernet 01. Now I want to create sub interfaces for this physical interface. Now look at here how I'm going to do it. I already shown you, but once again, I will say interface Gigabyte 0/1. Okay, this is my physical interface. Under that, I want to create the interface for my particular VLAN 100. Correct? Then how do I do that? Simply put a dot. I will specifically type 100. Now it is not compulsory that you can type the 100. You have to type any number. But it is for only for my understanding that this particular sub interface is handling the VLAN number 100. So this is what I'm going to do it. I will press enter. Now you will be back into sub interfaces. So this is the first interface which I have created. Now I need to inform him that this sub interface you are going to handle the traffic from VLAN 100. Now there is a command called as encapsulation. Okay, I need to tell this sub interface that you are supposed to use the encapsulation called as .1q. That means you are supposed to handle what? VLAN traffic. Okay, so you are supposed to handle .VLAN traffic. For which VLAN? It will ask you the number. What is the VLAN ID? So this interface I have created for VLAN 100. So I'm telling this interface that you are supposed to handle the traffic which is the VLAN traffic and all the traffic which is coming from 100. I press enter. Correct. Then I need to set one of the IP address from this range. I will say IP address 192.168.1. What I we said 150. Okay, and subnet mask would be 255.255.255.0%. Correct. Now I will go to this computer and put this as a gateway. Okay, the gateway means 192.168.1.150. Okay. One 192.168.1.150. Okay, I will do it for this as well. 192.168.1.150. Correct. So I have configured for admin. Now let's go for IT. Okay, I need to configure one interface for the IT as well. So I will exit out of it. Now once again, the IT is for 200. So I can type this number. Now encapsulation would be handling the VLAN called as 200. Correct. And the IP address, you can say 172.16.0.150. We will say for this as well. Subnet mask would be 255.255.0.0. Enter. Correct. I would minimize this window and set the default gateway to every computer over here. I would say 172.16.0.150. correct? I would say 172.16.0.150. Okay. 172.16.0.150. Correct. So my IT VLAN is also done. Very good. No problem. Now let's talk about management. So management, we can create a sub interface for it. So I will exit out of it. I will once again go for management would be 300. Okay. The sub interface is created. Encapsulation would be .1q. VLAN ID should be 300. IP address would be 10.0.0.150. Subnet mask would be 255.0.0.0. Correct. I will go to this computer. Now this interface would be the gateway for this computer 10.0.0.150. Okay. Now I would say 10.0.0.150. It is not compulsory to have such IP address. It's completely depend upon your IP block which you are using. Okay. For understanding purpose, I am providing a single IP address, but it is not like that. Okay, that's done. So if I go to the router and if I say exit, I will say show IP interface brief. Correct. You can see this is my physical interface. Under that, I do have 3 sub interface created. Correct. Now, if I go to this computer, we will check whether are you able to communicate with your default gateway 192.168.1.150. Okay. Okay, that's strange. 192.168.150.0.150.0.150. Okay. See IP config. Default gateway is 192.168.150. Then why it is not pinging? Let's go to the routing. Okay, exit. Okay, it is saying that if I say ping 192.168.1.100. What is the problem? What mistake we have doing? There is mistake. I know that what mistake I'm doing. Okay, the mistake is this port has to be trunk, correct? Remember that because the traffic is coming out of it with the tagging, correct? So gigabyte 01 has to be trunked, which we have missed. So terminal interface gigabyte 0/1 switch port mode trunk. Okay. Now wait for some time. That's why the traffic is not able to ping it over here. Let's see. Okay, that's fine. Let's go back to this computer. Okay, it's pinging. That's great. Okay, from the router also you are able to ping it now. It's pinging, it is successful. Now our main concern is whether admin people is able to talk with management people. Okay, so let's ping. Now I'm trying to ping management computer 10.0.0.1. Now I'm trying to ping from here to here. So request which should go here, and you can see I'm able to ping it. So that means admin computer is talking with management computer. If I try to ping 172.16.0.1. Okay, so this is also pingable. That means currently I am able to ping everything. So if I'm able to ping from 100 to this, let's see it. It's working. So inter VLAN routing between all the VLANs, I am successfully able to do it with the method called as router on stick method. Correct? Now we will try to see one more method which is very effective in bigger environment. Now still I am facing some trouble in this particular method. There is a problem called as latency, which is provided by router. Correct? Latency means my actually this computer want to talk to this computer with the help of a switch, to be honest. Correct? But right now what is happening? If I'm trying to ping crisscross from admin to management, this admin is going to router will do the routing, then he will once again come back on the same line, and then it is going to this particular piece. So there is a latency here because router need to do the routing process, because router is a device who can make sure two different networks can talk with each other. These are two different networks. This is 192. This is 10. These two networks are communicating, but there is a process called as latency. Now, in a bigger environment, this particular option is not a very effective option at all. You can say this is not relevant. Then what is the solution for this? The solution for such kind of layer 2 devices, we should have layer 3 switches. Okay, because I told you layer 3 switches actually help us to do the routing as well as he will do the switching. So both the facilities are available in layer 3. So this is much more efficient than this implementation. Correct? Because it would be happened on a layer which is called as switching. So I don't need to go to any third-party devices which is available. Okay, so I will create one more diagram for layer 3 and we will do inter-VLAN routing with the help of layer 3 switch. I don't require a router for that. Okay, so
Hey viewers, are you looking for formal training on SRE practices? Take our SRE program. This course will teach you how to successfully implement site reliability engineering in the modern day 24/7 services. Kickstart your SRE training today. Contact info is mentioned in the video sidebars and in the description box. Book your seats for the upcoming batches now.
okay, let's create a small diagram over here. Okay, this is my switch. I will take, now I'm not going to create so big example. I will create a small example. But I will tell you that how the same thing would be happened with the help of layer 3 switches. So let's say this is my two different VLANs which I would like to make the communication possible. Okay, I will say this is the machine is having the IP address of 192.168.1.100, correct? Device name is, okay, so that device name is already there, 192.168.100. I will say 192.168.1.100. Subnet mask would be 255.255.255.0. Okay, now here the gateway concept is little bit different. We will do that. This is the part of the VLAN 200. Okay, this VLAN we are going to create for marketing, for example. Correct. We have not created any VLAN. We are just creating a diagram, so we will immediately can do it. Now this computer is also okay. This is also 101. This is also belong to market. Correct. And these two computers we can say it is belong to management. Okay, carefully check what I'm doing. I'm not doing, I'm just writing it. I'm not configuring anything. Okay, this network has to be different. Correct. So we will change the network over here. We will say this could be 10.100. Okay, this could be the VLAN 300, and say this particular VLAN should be management. Correct. Okay, this is the part of VLAN. That's correct. So we are once again creating a VLAN and once again we are doing the inter-VLAN routing. However, this time the device is not a router, the device is called as layer 3. Correct? That is a layer 3 switch, because this is the most appropriate solution for biggest environment. Now I will take this computer is connected to switch, this computer is connected to switch, this computer is connected to switch, this computer is connected to switch. Okay, that's great. Now, this is not a big solution, but in order to understand it, it's fine. Okay, now this particular thing. Okay, now this is a fast Ethernet. This is a gigabit Ethernet. This is fast Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet 1, gigabit Ethernet 2. Then this is called as gigabit Ethernet 4, and this has to be gigabit Ethernet of 3. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct. So what VLAN we are going to create? VLAN 200 and VLAN 300. Okay, so let's go to the switch first. Okay, go to the command prompt. Device must be powered on. Okay, the device is powered off. Okay, where is you need to drag this, put it over here. Now the device would be powered on right now. You can see this. Now this is simply some different thing than our layer 2 router. Now I don't want to configure anything. Now I just turned on the power. Now your switch is just loaded everything. Okay, now let's go to enable config T. We would like to create a VLAN 300 and VLAN 200. I would say VLAN 200. Name is marketing. Correct. I would say VLAN 300. Name would be MGMT. Correct. Exit. Check VLAN has been created. Do show VLAN brief. Okay. Yes, marketing and management has been done already. That's great. Now we know that port number 1, which is a gigabyte, and port number 2 is the part of which VLAN 200. Okay, we will do that. We will put that port into VLAN 200. Correct. So I will say conf t interface gigabyte 1/0. Okay, we will go for range. Interface range gigabyte. The numbering system is 0/0/1. Okay, so I'm in this range. Now I would say switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 200. Commands are same. Exit, exit, show VLAN brief. Okay, so you can see both the port are in the market. Now 3 and 4, correct? This is a VLAN 300. Once again, I will go here. I will go to the config mode once again. I will say interface range gigabyte. Okay, the number which is supposed to be 1/0/3 and 4. Correct. I will say switch port mode access, switch port access VLAN 300. Correct? So that is fine. I will exit. I will say show VLAN brief. Correct? So marketing and this. So if I come down, these two computers would be able to communicate with each other. Okay, if I go to the computer, I just want to provide the necessary IP addresses. 168.1, sorry, 1.100. Okay. 192.168.1.101. Currently, I have not put any gateway at this moment of time. We need to put that. Now this is complete different network 192.168.10.101. It is belong to class B, but this is my network ID. So this is 10 and this is 1. So both are different network. That's fine. Here also I am going to configure 192.168.10.100. Okay. So our VLAN is actually done. We assign the ports to the VLAN. We configured the IP address. No problem. Are these VLAN are able to communicate 100%? We can try this. We are on this computer. I will check my IP address first. It is 101. If I say ping 192.168.1.100, obviously it is going to ping it. But if I try to ping 10.100, it won't be able to, because these two are different network. Correct? Now I would like to do the communication like this. Correct? I should be able to do inter VLAN routing, but I don't have a router. I do have a layer 3 switch. And I told you that layer 3 switch also work like a router. Correct? It does have a facility. By default, every port of the switch will act like a normal port of the switch. However, if I put some command, it will act like a router port as well. Correct? Now you can see every particular computer, we gave the IP address, but we haven't gave the gateway. Now here what we have done, we have created sub interface on your router actual physical interface. We have created virtual interface. Similarly, in layer 3, there is a concept called as SVI. That is called as switch virtual interface. Correct? Means whatever VLANs which we have created, for every VLAN, we have to create its own interface. And his own interface would be act like his gateway. That means I will create the interface for VLAN. Correct? The same way we have gave the IP address to the layer 2 switch. I will say interface VLAN 200. Correct? If I press enter, interface would be created. That interface would be SVI, and I will provide IP address to this interface, and this IP address which you are configured, that would be the gateway for my particular computer. Correct? This is SVI. We are actually doing the configuration this format in layer 3 switch. So let's see. Let's go to switch and let's say I have two different VLAN 300, VLAN 200. We will create a VLAN 200 interface, and I will give the IP address to that interface 192.168.1.254, the second last IP address, and I will put that is a gateway. Correct? So let's go here. I will say conf t. I will say interface VLAN 200. Enter. Correct. I am into the interface. Now I will say IP address. Correct. 192.168.1.254. Correct. And I will say the subnet is 255.255.255.0. This is the default subnet. Enter. Correct. Exit out of it. Same thing for VLAN 300. Enter. What IP address we can type? 10.254. Correct. Exit. Now see, your interfaces are created. Show IP interface brief. Enter. You will see there is a VLAN interface which we have created for this particular VLAN, and there is a VLAN interface created for 300. Correct? Both the interfaces which we have created right now, and along with that we put the IP address. Now I will take this IP address, and this IP address would be the gateway for this VLAN computers.
Thanks for watching. Want to study further? Join our training programs today.